Let's go. Everybody, welcome to the Hermes Cup races 3 and 4. Thanks for joining us. We got quite a session planned for you today. And first and foremost, hello to the Hades bad boy himself and my co-commentator, Haelian. How are you today? Haelian. Oh, sorry, buddy. I've got you on mute there. I think you're muted on Discord. Maybe just pop that off. One moment, folks.
Okay.
Hey,
okay,
how are
we
you?
Here?
Co-host and commentator.
Hello.
Hello. Looking pretty dapper
How are
today.
you, Jerds? I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, looking real good. How you feeling? Are you excited for today's cup?
Oh, I'm very excited, Jerds. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, feeling good. Feeling good. I think we've got a nice setup for today. We've definitely got some exciting races. So today we're going to be seeing Amber versus Museus, or as you can see, Amber_CXC versus TheRealMuseus. If you want to follow their Twitch, and definitely do so and check them out when they're streaming. And for race number 4, which is the second race that we're hosting today, we got JDN versus Box Hope. For those who don't know about the Hermes Cup, it's a fairly new event. We started the first round of races last fortnight. It's fortnightly, and the winner is first to 3 victories, right? The format is, there's a preset weapon and seed. There's 3 of them to do, and these races, they have to get a victory with 1, 2, and 3. First to finish the 3rd is the winner, and then they get to move on through the bracket. We really want to, get not just, speedrunners involved, but also, anyone who's a community contributor or a streamer. Feel free to shoot me a message on Discord, and we'll look at who we can get in for Hermes Cup number 2. But for this first Hermes Cup, here are the standings at this stage. As we can see from...
Spoiler warning here.
Oh, yeah, spoiler warning. Thank you. Sorry. This is what happened, and if you didn't catch it, you're more than welcome to check out the VOD. It's on Twitch, in my channel, through the VODs there, or also on my YouTube. Good to see a few people catching up on that. But for folks that already know the results, because you looked at the screen right now, here we've got, we saw that in round 1, Ello and Vareem fought off, and it was a very close match with Vareem coming out on top. And Wrist versus Crash Core was exciting. As well, with Wrist winning there too. So those two will progress into the semi-finals, which will be next fortnight, and you'll get to see them fight then. And then also next fortnight in the semi-finals, you'll get to see the winner of these 2 races that we're about to cast right now for you. So Haelian, good sir, before we start getting to any of that, how have you been going with your Hades career in general, and what's news in that space?
This is a career, you're telling me?
Well,
this is the first anyone sold me.
There might not be money involved.
Well, it's fun. What else do you do it? I have to ask permission for something real quick, Jerds.
Yeah.
Can I ban Nightbot from the chat? Because it keeps ruining our good friend Wrist.
Right.
Probably
Wrist,
good reasons, but...
Go ahead and spam Wrist. Nightbot will get banned for this one, that's fine.
All right, so we'll get rid of Nightbot for the night.
Good night, bot.
Okay, good. But I'm doing good, Jerds. Nothing too special or new with me, I'd say.
Okay. No sweat. Well, we can probably get get started pretty soon here.
I tried. Actually, can you ban Nightbot? Because I have to be the owner of the channel.
I'll do it a bit later. Let's get things started.
No problem.
All right, so. Starting off, we've got Amber and TheRealMuseus coming in for our first race. Amber and Museus, are you there?
Yep. Hey, what's up?
Hello. Good to have you. Welcome to the stream. Just a couple of questions for you folks. We'll start with Amber first. How are you feeling? Are you nervous at all? You feeling confident? What's the go?
I guess I'm feeling nervous. I don't have nearly as much experience as most of these guys, I would say. So I am I'm a little scared.
All right. Well, you know, like this is the
But I know
advice
it's
I
gonna be
dispensed
fun,
last
so.
time. I don't think you have anything to be worried about. You know, once you start playing the game, it's all too familiar.
I think Amber's being a little modest here because Amber was actually the first person to run the all weapon speed run, which is pretty popular now, I'd say.
Yeah.
But she was the instigator.
Hey, just because I came up with it doesn't mean I'm good at it.
It's a good category, that's for sure.
I'm glad y'all like the category.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Haelian, you ran that just yesterday and cracked your PB, I believe.
Yeah, by a solid. I forget.
6
Kane would have
seconds.
to remind me. I think it was like 9 seconds.
Yeah. Any regrets running a 2-hour race to shave off?
For a 9-second PB? No, it was all worth it. It's always worth it.
Yeah, it's always worth it, right? Got to keep pushing the limit. So Amber, I understand that you've got a bit of speedrunning experience in other games as well. Why don't you tell us a bit about that? And I hear that you're running Summer Games Done Quick in Mario Kart 8. That's pretty cool.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
congrats.
yeah. So this is not my main speed game, you would say. My main speed game is actually Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch. And yeah, I have a couple records in single cup categories. I used to have a 16-track category record, but that got beaten. But yeah, me and 2 of my close friends in that community are going to be running a relay race in SGDQ Online. Yeah, it's going to be super, super fun.
That's really cool.
That is on Tuesday, August 18th.
Okay, nice. So that people will be just to be able to find that on Twitch, right?
Yeah, that's twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I've been running Mario Kart for like 5 years now. And this is the first game I'm really actually taking somewhat seriously, but I'm not very good at it yet.
Yeah. Oh, you know, we'll see how we go with the race. It's still early days, and plenty of time before we even get to version 1.0. And I've got a feeling, those speedrun categories, when we go for full launch of the game, they'll be up there for a long time. Give everyone a real long time, and to practice their runs, see what other people are doing, modify the meta. It's going to be pretty cool, actually. I'm saving all my power for when version 1 comes out. Museus, good sir. So for folks that don't know, Museus is quite a contributor as well in the speedrunning community. Puts up resources online, helps with modding. There's a Hades modding Discord for folks that don't know as well. Anyway, Museus, how are you? How are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm feeling all right. A little nervous, but not terrified.
Just
I
do
gotta
that
say,
thing
you
you do.
sound terrified right now.
Nah, you sound fine. Every time I talk or hear Museus on stream, it sounds the same. It's just cool as a cucumber, no sweat. So I'm not believing that hype, that's for sure. I've got a feeling these 2 races are going to be totally fine with what happens today. Museus, have you got much? What other sort of speedrunning sort of stuff have you done in the past?
I mean, I always try to go fast in basically every game I play, but like never actually officially speedrunning. I think the closest I've come to actually speedrunning was at PAX East. There was this little indie game that was hosting their own little speedrunning competition, and I spent the entirety of my day at PAX just playing that little indie game.
What was this in game?
It was called Negative World. I don't think it ever actually was popular in any sort of the word, but
That's so good. It's those experiences, they all
Cool
matter.
story though.
They all forge the speedrunner. So yeah, look, a couple of quick questions before we get into this race. If you want to reveal it, Amber, what's your strategy coming in? You don't have to reveal it.
So I don't have to reveal it. Well, I think I will. I'm gonna be doing Artemis starts, which I think are generally the fastest starts, except for Chiron though. I'm going to be starting with Zeus because today I was doing a run that got Zeus special just randomly, and I realized that it was really good. So I did another couple runs with it, and kind of last minute change of strategy, but I'm gonna be doing Zeus special for Chiron bow.
Yeah.
But otherwise, Artemis starts. I think keyboard and mouse. This is actually a decent set for playing keyboard and mouse, except for Zag Sword, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I think that's going to go really quite well, actually. And for folks that don't know, I've got it up on the screen there anyways. The three weapon and aspects in this order are going to be spear with aspect of Hades, we got bow with aspect of Chiron, and then sword with Zagreus aspect there. So
we've graduated to graphics and not just text now even.
Yeah,
so
does it look
proud.
better? Let us know in the
chat. It
chat.
looks 10 times better.
Yeah, nice.
Finally, I can show this to my parents.
Yeah, that's good. Say hi. I was over for dinner last night. So, TheRealMuseus, what's your strategy? Oh, no, they're lovely people.
Basically the same thing, just tons of Artemis, as is the way with most speedruns for this game.
Yeah, no sweat. All right, even with the Chiron bow, going to go Artemis?
Yeah, I think that the just having the crit chance, if you could get deadly reversal on it, just being able to basically triple the damage is worth more than the like 2 hits from Zeus that you usually get. But I don't know. I was looking at possibly going Dionysus for Chiron just because you basically get full stacks immediately, but it's a little bit too reliant on getting more Dionysus. So I decided not to.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. We don't know what the starting seed is going to be like. What you can do, though, folks, is, obviously control your keepsakes and also the mirror. So, actually, we might get you guys just to show us what your mirror setups are. It'll be interesting to know leading in. Just pop on over there.
This is what I'm doing.
Okay, so we see Museus there. Shadow Presence, Dark Regen. Super strong, very powerful.
Couple interesting choices there, I think, especially with Dark Foresight is the main one instead of increased rarity on his boons. So Musea sounds like he's going for a lot of boons of low quality, essentially.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah. The more Artemis, the better. Doesn't matter how good they are; they just have to be plentiful.
Amber going
the rarity
for,
boost is larger than the palm boost, so I'm still picking Olympian favor.
Amber's got some really interesting choices: Fiery Presence, Golden Touch. Those are a couple that you don't see very often. More so, Golden Touch, I'd say. So that'll be really interesting to watch, I think.
Do you want to hear my strategy beforehand, or?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to change what your opponent's going to do. So why not tell us?
Sure. I'm picking Fiery Presence because it is a guaranteed plus 50%, and backstabs are not guaranteed on enemies. It doesn't matter to me that I could get multiple backstabs because I am not good enough to focus on getting a backstab. I'm more focused on just hitting the enemy. So I'm taking the guaranteed plus 50 on one hit. And then with Golden Touch, my general strategy revolves around Bow and Hourglass, so I like saving my money.
Okay. Sounds good. So I guess with Golden Touch there, like early spends, probably you want to get to some sort of critical mass point with the gold before you start spending that gold, which might mean for a slower start if there's a boon purchase option in the mid shop or at the end shop. But very conscious choice in playing the long game, so I'm respecting that. You guys, by the way, you are welcome to obviously change your mirror settings in between runs. If that helps you strategize specifically for your bow and your weapon and aspect combo. As for heat, by the way, folks, this isn't any heat of the runner's choice. They can run what they want. As you can see here, we got Amber on 2 and Museus on 5.
I'll be running 5.
You'll be running 5?
Save.
Yeah, no sweat. All right. And that's obviously going to be running tight deadline to lower the chance of those Hades survival rooms that can spawn. Amber, are you ready?
Yeah.
Museus, did I pronounce your name correctly, by the way?
It's Museus, but everybody says Museus, so I don't really get hung up on it.
I was thinking because I was thinking it's like Theseus. Yeah. No worries. We'll get your Zag butts over to the Pact of Punishment and get ready to hit that begin escape. Haelian, did you have any questions for these folks before we start the race?
No, I just want to wish them good luck, have fun, all the typical stuff, and make sure you catch every fish that you can.
Very important. Haelian, why don't you count us down for the race to start?
All right, guys.
Should we, as soon as we hit begin escape, like, what should we do with like deafening and leaving the call so that we don't hear?
Yeah.
Because I have to change my settings so that. Okay, you'll be heard on my stream for a little bit. Until I leave.
I'd prefer if you muted our voices and commentary.
Okay. I can't split the game and Discord, so sorry about that.
Okay, yeah, no sweat, no worries. In that case, I'll probably just use the game sound for Museus. No worries. Well, let's get the countdown started. Everyone's ready.
All right,
let's do it.
Let's get started in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, just the tiniest bit of lag between them, not much at all though to have to worry about. Luckily, it's just a second each. Now, I did something very purposeful here. I wanted to make sure they got to think about the start of this race here with a nice long cutscene for them. Really consider what's going to happen here.
That's cheeky.
But other than that, no big trolls.
Besides this starting hammer, no, that's a great hammer to start with. So Amber starting off with the quick spin there, and Museus also choosing that. Great choices.
I think it was a great idea to give them something to kind of really emphasize the spin here, because I think that's something most Hades players, just myself included, I have a hard time utilizing this spin very well. I don't know about you, Jerds.
Look, it's a bit tricky. It's all about positioning, but one good thing you can do is obviously you can begin the spin safely and then dash to where you want the spin to release. So that can make for sort of, smooth out the process of using it.
I think there's been a lot of talk of how we can make this spin a little bit better in the game. And a lot of people suggest things like be able to move while you charge it and things like that. There's definitely a lot of good ideas out there. It'd be interesting to see what the developers have to think about it. And this is an aspect that recently got a big buff. You'll see when they get a fully charged spin. That thing is huge.
Yeah, it is quite incredible actually. And if anyone can pick up a Hermes attack speed increase, that might help with those spin speeds as well.
So both runners went with Artemis here, and Amber picked up the dash first, which is interesting because that means that she's going to be able to dash strike in between the spins, and she was able to grab an attack almost immediately afterwards. So that's great. And Museus going a similar route with Artemis's attack. Yeah,
look, I think that's a good strat. Of course, like it is early days, you are able to, kind of mix up the gameplay. You don't have to play into the aspects, I'm sure you want to take your spin attack as your opener, but it doesn't mean you have to follow up with spin attacks per se.
No, absolutely, yep. Might not be a bad strategy sometime. I'm just waiting for the day if someone chooses to ignore all the hammers, all the aspects, and just go full crystal beam like a real man should, perhaps.
All right, so we got Museus entering doomed stone fight here, opening up with the Meg, just getting that big damage, blocking out that armor straight away, and that's a very quick rune, picking up the Aphrodite boon here, straight into crush shot.
Ooh, cast. That's really interesting. Into an Erebus gate? Wow. This is a really interesting choice by Museus.
Look at those spin tactics right now. I love it. I have to admit I do that when enemies are spawning too. It's pretty fun. Ooh, yeah, it feels a bit risky holding that spin button down.
No, I think he just got nicked. He lost it. Turns into an onion gate for him. It's a shame. He really went all in on that one.
Yeah, and I do respect going all in for the race. This is what you got to do, right? Gambles can really pay off. But it is early days,
Question.
We're first biome of 3 races, Too early to
I
say.
got some bad news here, Jerds, though.
What's that?
Museus did not gift Boldy. I think his run might be cursed now.
Okay, hang on
I'll
a
have
second.
to confirm with Boldy later, but...
Production team, can you make a special note that Baldy was not gifted by Museus? And we're going to have to highlight that later. Okay.
I mean, I'll have to call the developers later about this, but I'll hold off for now.
Yeah, concerning. So regardless of the Erebus gate and all that sort of stuff, Museus going into the first biome fight against Meg.
It's interesting. That Erebus gate he actually went through, it wound up being surprisingly quick. Maybe because he got hit, he didn't get too many enemies, but yeah, he's the first one to move on to the Tartarus boss here.
Yeah, with Amber entering that fight right now too, so still pretty close. It'll be good to compare what the damage output is like at this point.
It looks pretty similar at this moment. I'm not seeing too big of a difference. Amber's got a rare attack, whereas Museus only has a common. Looks like Amber also has level 2. Yeah, so they're probably fairly equal at this moment. Museus having that crush shot. I'm not certain how well it's going to serve him. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, so finishing Tartarus, Museus there in 442, and then we got Amber on 501. Fairly close. We got some good in-game times there. 2 minutes 40 is quite respectable for I guess a random seed start.
Yep. Looks like Amber got pretty unlucky with some of those rooms we were watching there. Just you don't want a lot of small enemies. You want big, chunky, armored enemies when you're doing a speed run for Hades. So the room that Museus is in right now, for instance, this is not the kind of room that you want to see in Asphodel, because when you see these kinds of enemies, you're just going to get a lot of them continuously over and over again, it feels, and it just takes longer. And it looks like we got a question from Stereotypical in chat. Who is the best girl in Hades? What do you think, Jerds? Who's the best girl?
Look, I've got a special place for Artemis. That's why you'll see, Artemis all over through the stream. What about you, Haelian?
Oh, man. I mean, you kind of stole my answer, but...
no, you can have the same answer.
after that...
Look, I'm getting judgment from the background from the true best girl, but the problem is you're not in the game, Twinkletoes, so you're not even... You can't be selected. Your best girl IRL, don't worry about it.
What about the Furies, though, here?
The Furies are pretty cool, too. It's hard not to love all of the characters, let's be honest. And you know what? I actually like it when someone says best girl Athena, because that's a rare pick. And
that's a rare pick.
It's a rare pick.
Agree with that one.
Australians love an underdog victory, so...
Yeah. It's also the wrong pick, I have to note, but that's okay.
What's wrong?
Ooh, Museus picking up Heartrend from the shop there. That's a nice big damage boost.
In the meantime...
That's going to give him 50% extra crit damage as long as his enemies are weakened. The only unfortunate thing is the only way he has to weaken enemies is with his cast. Might be a little difficult for him to fully utilize.
Yeah, probably not bad for boss fights where it probably matters the most, or big elite fights as well. But I just noticed there that Amber picked up the reflex from Hermes with the +1 dash, so that's super important. One of the most, in my opinion, one of the strongest boons in the game.
Yep, I think it's. I think everyone tends to agree that just any amount of extra dashes, you just take it. It's just too good to ignore, just being able to get out of those big boss moves more easily is just going to save you all the time.
Yeah, totally. It just makes even the Hades fight pretty much a guaranteed win in my opinion, because you can hit those dashes rapidly quick. There are some iframes in those dashes right in the middle there,
yep.
But you dash quickly, you can extend that invincibility window. It keeps you super safe. So every dash additionally makes you even safer again, as well as the speed that you get, right? So,
absolutely.
You can subtly do another dash strike if you need it. As you said, get in and out of the way of enemies, and most importantly, go fast, right? Get across these giant Asphodel rooms and get to those exits quickly.
Yep, that makes a much bigger deal in a race like this, where we're using real time instead of the in-game timer to time this. So getting from point A to point B actually matters quite a bit more here, because some of those long hallways in between the zones, the in-game timer is paused, but in real time, you really got to get through them quickly.
Yeah, totally. So Amber got a boon selection here, picking Battle Rage. I think that's pretty good.
It's not a bad option.
Yeah, of course. In the meantime, Museus rolling there. I just missed what the Hermes boon pickup was.
Pretty unlucky. He grabbed 15% dodge. He did not get very good options, unfortunately, from Hermes. Just kind of took what he got there at that point.
Can happen.
Thinking about this chop. Just playing it safe there. Both runners have a fairly low amount of health still. They're both running high confidence from the mirror, so they must be pretty confident in their runs. Amber are still only at 85, Museus at 110.
Respecting this choice by Museus here to run extreme measures, I assume 2, to get this different layout for the Loney fight. Theoretically, slightly quicker, being that you can start wailing on that Loney head, pretty much immediately from the start of the fight, and if it's always in the center of the room, you can get to it very quickly. What are your thoughts on that one?
I think the big change there is just when especially the large wave of small heads here that you're seeing come out, they just spawn so much closer together. He got a little unfortunate here. He got all the wave maker heads basically on this side of the room, so they're not coming forward, which is what you want. You want them to gather up toward the center. And that's the ideal situation, that they just kind of come toward you and you're able to kill them all at once, especially with something like the spin. Ooh, we lost our first Death Defiance there in Asphodel from Museus. Amber's still holding strong up top, though.
Yeah, I guess, that's going to happen when you're going all out. Timing that perfect Meg strike to finish off Loney, which allows him to stay near the gate there, probably saving a few seconds. It's a pretty good move. In the meantime, we've got Amber fighting Loney upstairs on the top screen. And entering pretty much the final phase now. So we're kind of still as close as we were before, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just a matter of a few seconds between each runner here. Amber almost lost a Death Defiance there. She was so close. You could tell from her face that she was gasping for air at that 5 health left at the end of that fight. Museus taking Chiron's keepsake into Elysium here, which is a pretty good option. He's probably hoping to pick up some Cyclops Jerky for more attack damage and maybe similar things like that.
Nice, and Amber picking up the Bone Hourglass to extend those encounter durations on purchased well items, and then picking up 2 or 3 from the shop there. Clicked so fast I didn't quite even see what was picked, but looking pretty good.
She just grabbed everything. She was special
Doesn't
damage.
Doesn't matter what
cast.
it is, just click and go.
It was an extra cast.
Deadly Reversal picked up there for Museus. Beautiful pickup.
Big pickup there. So now he's got 2 dual boons. It still might kind of struggle keeping that Heart Rend being very useful there, but Deadly Reversal is always going to be good. For 2 seconds after you deflect any attack, you'll get 20% crit chance. That's just an amazing dual boon, honestly.
Sorry, folks that are in chat, that Nightbot's giving you a hard time. I only just introduced it, so I'll tune it down later. For now, maybe just hold off on too many, emote spams or whatever it is that's true.
Consider this a warning. You're only allowed to do 3 emotes at once per message.
I did love seeing those emotes, though. Dying Lament picked up from Museus. I actually think that's kind of a hidden, really good boon. Maybe not as good as Jerds to kill, but it's. But
you knew what I was thinking about there, didn't you?
Yeah, I could tell. I can't know what goes on in your brain over there in America. I can tell from here. But if you're clumping up enemies, which enemies I want to do, if you're melee, right, they're going to sort of head towards you. That little AoE explosion it can add up over time. So I think it's good value.
It's probably a good choice here, especially where you're not necessarily a fast hitting weapon here. So you want to be able to kill something like the small rats and sticks quickly. They'll just end up chain killing each other, so that works really well. Nice, another big pickup from Museus here. He's got a really nice build going on, I'd say right now. He actually turned down Massive Spin, which could have been a solid choice, and he took Serrated Edge, I think it's called, which is every dash attack now strikes 3 times instead, and it looks like it's a bit bigger.
Yeah, serrated point. It does lessen your dash distance, though. That is the trade-off.
It does, yes. Oh, Amber picked up the same one I just noticed. Wow, so they both have very solid builds going right now. I think that's a great hammer to pair well with the Hades aspect here, because you get that 150% damage boost. Wait, hold on. Maybe it's not that much. I can't remember now. You get that big damage boost after the spin, and against bosses, it's just going to take them down super quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is 150. Yeah. And just a quick note before, I did notice that Amber picked up the the Patroclus room, so there might be an opportunity for catch up there. I didn't.
I'm sorry. What room, Jerds?
There's a. Hang on a second. What? Patty.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted.
Amber picked up the Patty room. Was there a Than room in there?
As well.
Ooh,
Well, there's one now
grabbed
for
the
Zeus.
in here. Ooh, kind of a rare pick you see there. Amber finishing up the butterfly mini boss, which I should note on my tie is highlighted here for you guys.
Gorgeous.
She grabbed Sweet Nectar, which means that palms now increase double the points.
Big moves. I love that actually. You know, the way the POMs work with you get percentage scaling of power every time you pick one up, right? To me, that says whatever your damage outputs or whatever your most important boons are, you do want to be getting at least 2 or 3 levels in those. And that's going to be so much easier now that she picked up the Sweet Nectar boon.
Yeah, it's probably a bit late in the run to make a lot of use out of it, but honestly, it's still not a bad strat. The other boons there weren't too meaningful anyway. She's able to grab a palm right here, so she's already going to get some value out of it. And it wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea to just chuck it in the Purging Well at the end of this zone either.
Yeah, exactly right. If you can sell that off in, or even in sticks if you're lucky. I'd love to see one day, like a Purging Well in Chiron's shop. There is that little section, have you noticed, Haelian, just on the right of the shop? That's like a little square, like a little ramp.
Yeah, it's kind of like this little blank area, right?
Is that something that's going to be for version 1.0? Like, what's going on there? I'd love to see
know.
a well there anyway.
It's kind of a similar thing in Patty's room, I think. There's like this little square. Usually there's like a gold pot there or something, but who knows, maybe. There's a lot of hidden things that could still happen in the game. A lot of weird blank spots, I think.
Yeah, pretty keen to know what's behind that door in the House of Hades, by the way. Hoping it's going to be something that, helps with, what we can do with expanding the game and gameplay and can help out with speedrunning, of course.
All right, a little bit of a turnaround here. Amber's able to enter the final shop. Ooh, but only a few seconds ahead of Museus. They're both entering the door at the same exact time. Holy cow.
Yeah, we got a race on our hands
That
here,
is
folks.
close.
This will be very interesting to see the comparison.
Yes, let's see how they handle the... Ooh, I just noticed that Amber is actually running the new companion keepsake, Antos, from Patty and Achilles there. Getting that guaranteed hit. And actually, it paid off well there, unlike for Museus, who is using Meg right now, where it only hit Theseus, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. We do see a little bit of a damage differential here. Hard to say what's happening at this point. Well, we've got Theseus gone down for Museus first, so he's working on the Minotaur now. At the same time, we've got Amber pretty much working on 2 at once here, trying to collect those AoEs with those dash
There's
strikes.
1 DB there.
Yeah.
Amber's doing a good job of just trying to keep them grouped up and trying to kill them both as quickly as possible. In case you don't know, the Minotaur usually follows Zagreus around, whereas Theseus tries to stay away and just throw his spear at you. So it's usually good to just follow Theseus around if you really want to keep them grouped up and kill them as quickly as possible.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's a good strategy. And you know what? If you take a few hits, it kind of doesn't matter with players of this skill, and with all these death defiances in life. It's all right, you can use that health and take the hits, and as long as you get your hits in, right, and get that damage in, that's what matters here in the race. So we got both of them pretty close leading out of that fight.
Both runners took the acorn there. Actually, I don't know the full name of the acorn now that I say it.
The evergreen acorn.
Evergreen acorn? Okay, that's what it is. You're right.
Yeah.
I guess they just want to make sure that we don't see our first death here tonight in their race. I'm guessing. I'm hoping someday we do get to see one, though. That not for the pain of the runner, but for the cheers of the crowds.
Well, I do remember that Museus was running high confidence, so that should allow him to stay in that, is it 80% threshold, 75, 80% threshold to get that additional damage from that mirror option.
Yeah.
But as I say that, Museus enters the tiny vermin room, which everybody loves to hate. Opening up there with the Meg to get the big damage in. You know what? That vermin's going down pretty quick if he can connect the spear onto it. As we know, it's an elusive little beast and likes to teleport and burrow away.
Yep.
Got it down to 1/3 there. This is not a bad speed for the tiny vermin room, to be honest. And as I say that, Amber also enters a tiny vermin room. There's something about this seed that you've created for these races, Haelian, and it's cursed.
I mean,
No one's
we
blaming
saw Boldy not getting gifted. I think that was the key there for Museus. As for Amber, I'm not certain what the curse was, but I'm sure it was something not of my own fault.
No one's, but it's fine. I swear. Look, this is just the game, right? It's RNG. Anything can happen. And it's good that both, I guess both races, you know, basically got the same room, so that's nice and fair. So Amber
Tiny
finishing off
Vermin
the
is
room
almost an interesting boss, I say, except for the fact that it really only has 3 moves. Burrow, Chomp, or summon big rats. You know, I think Tiny Vermin could be a little more interesting, but maybe it's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Looks like Museus was able to pull a little bit ahead, finishing off the Tiny Vermin a little bit more quickly there. So depending on how these sacks treat our runners, you might be able to see Museus pull ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, the sack RNG that can happen here can really make or break a run. What we found in the last race, folks, though, across, you know, the 3-race format, it kind of evened out. There wasn't any drastic differences. You know, one race, there was an equal number of rooms. The second race, it was just a differential of 1. So not too bad there. That's not to say maybe one day in the future we can explore some sort of method to try and make that more consistent.
We'd love to hear feedback about that.
Yeah, what do you think?
Looks like both runners are going to have to take 3 paths. Museus is a little bit further ahead on his 3rd path here, though. Somebody mega on a small chamber here. That's really interesting with Museus, I'd say.
Yeah, Amber picking up that pom for the double strike. Going to Deadly Strike level 8, that's pretty strong,
wow.
Considering, you know, the majority of your damage is coming from that, right? So,
Museus turning down his 3rd duo boon. He could have had Parting Shot, but obviously it's not going to be very meaningful for his build here, so it's understandable. Just grabbing a big palm before he goes. So he was able to complete Styx on the 3rd path. Amber looks like hopefully she'll be finishing up quickly here too.
Quick decisions there by Museus. Also on Deadly Strike level 8. I didn't notice.Id he have Sweet Nectar as well, or is that just pure pom power?
I don't think so.
That's a lot
I think
of palms
it's
picked
just
up.
he grabbed some palms.
Very good.
Reem in chat pointing out Amber's health is quite low. Down the 2 Death Defiances, but I think with the Acorn on, we don't have to worry too much, assuming that she's not forced to take too many more paths here.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Ooh.
That room meaning that you know, there is no sack and she's going to have to enter another chamber. It's going to cut a little bit of time, but hopefully that balances out across the course of the run. In the meantime, we got Museus in the bottom screen there, phasing, well, mid-phasing, I guess, Hades, unfortunately disappearing. You don't want those Hades stealthing away events to happen so often, because that's just time added to the fight.
Yep.
But still making quick work and taking advantage of that high confidence there. He has lost all his Acorn, going so hard so quickly, but that's fine. Still in that top percentage bracket there for the damage.
It totally makes sense, especially in phase 1. Like you said, these invisible patterns can cost you quite a bit of time. So you really just want to go hard in phase 1 and just make sure you end it as quickly as possible, so that way you can enter phase 2, which arguably easier phase, but definitely a faster phase at the least.
Yeah, absolutely right. So really hoping for Amber here to kind of even it out and get that Satyr sack in one of these coming up chambers, so we can see that Hades fight happen as well. Because up until then we had a real close race, right? And it's not that far yet of a differential, but
wound up coming down to the sack basically here, it looks. Luckily Amber did pick it up on the 4th chamber, didn't have to go for a 5th at least. Down to 1 Death Defiance, so it's a little scary, you know, for anyone. Oh wow, powering up that attack like crazy. Oh my goodness. Oh, I would have enjoyed it so much if she just picked the attack one more time, just to see the big number. I think she's got her attack up to level 14 right now.
Yeah, that's actually insane. I don't think I've ever seen that. Very cool to see. So let's see how much work that actually does going into the Hades fight now.
Museus just finished up his run. He finished Hades Spirit in a time of 22:42. Amber getting a couple invis phases here. Not doing too bad. Hasn't even lost a single Acorn charge yet. Zagreus moving on to Chiron bow, throwing on Artemis's keepsake just like he planned, it looks, and just starting off on his second run there. Jerds chat would like to point out that they can hear your Discord sounds, just so you know. Not that it offends anyone, but just wanted to point it out.
Excellent. Yeah, I haven't enabled streamer mode, but thanks for the heads up. It's funny.
Sorry, mistake.
It's funny. We just got late breaking news that we're going to be joined by a special guest after the intermission, which is going to be actually quite exciting. Haelian's grinning, and for good reason. It's Amir, studio director of Supergiant Games and a designer on Hades, very active with the community, as proven by coming onto the stream soon. So we'll see that after the race. If you have some questions, we'll attempt to field some of them later on. We do have some questions already lined up, but yeah, feel free just to put them in chat. So something to look forward to, folks. That's pretty cool. In the meantime, Amber there finishing off Hades with a time of 24:47. Not too far off 22:42 from Museus, so 2 minutes.
Almost exactly 2 minutes there. It was tough. It was tough with those two. Was it one extra path or two extra paths there? Could have been Museus just had the stronger build there, grabbing Deadly Reversal and Heartrend, just being able to chunk Hades a little bit more quickly there too, I think. Still definitely a tight race here, though, I'd say. It's going to be interesting to see the two different strategies that they spoke of here. Amber's planning to take Zeus on the special, so that'll be interesting. And also, I'd like to point out for everyone in chat that make sure you have your questions ready for Amir, and make sure they're all based around Trippy Shot.
or not. But I probably would ask, let's not put any too pointed questions at him. Things like, can you buff my favorite, weapon or aspect or something like that. Hey,
I'm sure he's gotten plenty of that, huh?
Yeah, of course. Just the amount of, feedback that those guys collect, and they're actually receptive to it all is actually amazing. So you're going to see all sorts of quality of feedback, of course, considering how much volume there is, right? So we got Amber starting off there with her bow run and picking up concentrated volley. I think that's a very cool move. Yeah. I know that the intention here was to go Zeus on the special, right? But Museus making a comment that the Zeus actually only procs maybe 2 times. What do you think about that compared to other boon choices?
Don't know.
Does it actually proc only a couple of times? I guess we'll see it soon when if it gets picked up.
Yes and no. It's kind of a tough thing to really fully utilize, it seems. Wow, Amber completing an Amber escape there.
Yeah, very skillful.
Sorry, just noting on that.
Yeah, that's nice, and an epic attack pickup too. That's good.
So that Zeus Lightning Bolt theoretically only triggers X amount of times per second, basically, which is usually probably once, maybe twice. So even though you might think that you can just spam the Chain Lightning or something for something Lucifer, unfortunately it doesn't quite work as well as you think, but it still does work very well at the same time.
Definitely works better on aspect of Rama, making it a very competitive, spam special opportunity. Maybe we'll see some Rama in the semi-finals, actually. Sounds like a good choice.
So.
Yeah. Picking up the fan room there, Museus.
Wow, nice and early here for Museus.
Yeah, so look, it's just going to add a little bit of time to the run overall, but at least it won't come as a surprise later in the run.
Yep. It's better to get him here than, obviously, Elysium, we can say, where... I mean, typically the earlier you get Thanatos, the faster it's going to be, so better to see him here, because you can usually crush these enemies pretty quickly. And usually you don't get too many either, and the rooms are much smaller in comparison.
Yeah, absolutely. Assuming you've got a reasonable start with your boons and hammers or whatever else, and you can kill things off quickly, yeah, it generally will be a quicker room. The other thing too is, if you beat Than, and you should beat Than, you'll get that heart reward. So just a little bit of extra life makes your early game and going onwards just that slightly more comfortable as well.
Have you never lost to Thanatos, Jerds?
Look, there's been losses to Than, but I would never admit that on stream.
Wow, both players taking Chaos Gates at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Amber picking up Zeus's special there, getting a perfect setup for Lightning Rod, our Lord and Savior.
50
So
something
let's just hope
percent.
that we get to see that.
Yeah, that's right. 50 something percent special pickup damage for Amber, so they'll kick in a few chambers. With such a special centric, build, that's quite the boon. Chaos boons are very, very strong in my opinion. In the meantime, we got Museus entering the Meg fight here.
Chaos is interesting because players might not know, but his boons are multiplicative, and that basically just means that his boons are going to be a lot more effective compared to, just something like Sweet Surrender, Urge to Kill, things like that, which are additive. You don't see big noticeable increases from that, but when you get a Chaos boon that adds, 50% special, you're going to notice it.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's huge. In the meantime, a very quick mech kill for Museus and finishing off that Tartarus and finishing up with 29 minutes there. So what's that? 7 minute and 6 seconds. Quick math. Real time.
I don't do math, Jerds. I've graduated from that.
Yeah, actually, we might work on getting some more accurate biome splits in the future, right? Maybe we can put the life split and have that at the start of each run as well.
Ooh, Thanatos showing up for Amber here too.
Well, it's only
fair.
It's
strange how similar these wind up being.
Yeah, so the difference being, about 2 minutes before entering this second run with the Chiron bow. Let's see how that pans out coming into the end of the Meg fight for Amber. Well, if it's Meg, it might not be Meg. Probably will be though, right?
It's probably not locked in. It'll be interesting. Amber picked up Poseidon's Dash, also known as Splash Dash here, which I think is actually a very, very strong boon, especially for a build like this where you don't need to get close to enemies. Well, the opposite, really, isn't it? So, not too far behind here for Amber. Oh, picking up. Ooh, wow.
That
some interesting
juicy
choices.
Sea Storm. Oh, I love getting a good Sea Storm going on.
Not quite as good as possibly something like Jolted there, just because the Sea Storm's only going to trigger from the dash, but I'm just really disappointed that Lightning Rod wasn't the immediate pick there, honestly.
That's true, that is true. You got to think about how often can you actually proc that Storm. So we got a Tisiphone fight happening there for Amber. Unfortunately, it can take a little bit longer, just because there's those few extra seconds in between each phase, and that I guess happens 3 times, right? So that can add an extra...
Generally, it's just 5 to 10 seconds on rough math there, basically. So it's just a automatic time loss versus the other Furies.
Yeah, that's right. Museus, they're picking up the Demonor's Aid. Well, not picking it up, but has it. And in my opinion, that's a really good pickup because it just adds so much to the safety, how much more aggressive you can be, just that ticking damage over time. It counts as a curse if you're running privileged status. Really, really strong aid.
Museus picking up Divine Dash from Athena again, making his dashes deflect. He had that in the previous run, making the second time he took a crutch in a row here. But it's such a strong boon. Possibly, I don't know, what do you think? Possibly the single most powerful boon that they have in one boon, I guess is what I'm trying to say. What do you think?
Which boon are we talking about?
Talking about Divine Dash.
Yeah, I think so. I actually think the Artemis Dash Strike is probably the most strongest boon. Just because, you can essentially, if you've got a dash attack based build, you can double your damage with a single boon. In my opinion, that's very, very strong.
I think for speedrunning categories, you're probably correct there.
But I mean, they're both super strong choices. I have to agree with you. You can never go wrong with the Divi Dash. So when Amber entered this biome, she picked up the Nail of Talos there, which I think is a really cool tactical pickup. Just doing that extra 50% damage to armored enemies, and there's heaps of those armored enemies from now on.
And it's definitely a good pickup with something like Zeus here, which doesn't necessarily have big crits or anything like that. So just a little bit extra on something like that is going to be huge. Museus picking up Deadly Reversal yet again. He just knows which boons to go for, it looks here. He was wearing Athena's keepsake coming into Asphodel, whereas Amber chose the coin purse just to be able to pick up a little bit more. Amber recoiling at taking a little bit of lava damage. I think Supergiant baited us into thinking that was still kind of worked, but for some reason it's a little bit harder to take those doors on the wrong side now.
Yeah, that's right. You have to be kind of accurate getting if you're in the live and you want to go into a door. And I've definitely been caught out by that. And can we just make another note with the production team here, please, that Amber had an opportunity to enter a Chiron fight and didn't take it? Yeah, we're just going to have to.
Oh, wow.
We're just going to have to say
great shame has been brought upon our house right now, Jerds.
Look, it's going to happen each time, but they're going for speed. They're going the distance.
It'll be the ultimate flex, though, won't it? I mean, someone's gonna have to flex, and nobody wants to see me do it. So,
if it does it count as a chamber? Here's a legit question: is that fight an actual chamber that counts towards the? Because if you can,
I think so.
It might. Can you do it quickly? Here's the question, right? If you've got good damage output, can you actually down a Chiron in 20 seconds or something?
I don't know. It's pretty iffy because I guess you just got to think about what chamber could ever be longer than that 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 you're gonna get.
Just
and it's kind of hard to think of.
Only
one.
Thanatos.
Yeah, I guess if you knew that there was a possibility of seeing Than, but I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah. So we got Museus entering the Lerny fight now, running extreme measures again to get that center head positioning and closer spawns of the outer heads when they happen. Probably, reasonable speed. I'm not seeing, too much AoE here or anything like that to hit multiple heads at once. Just being the nature of, the weapon and the aspect. So it'll be the same sort of case for Amber anyway. Although
definitely.
There is, like a little bit of damage, splash damage, so to say, from the AoE from this Poseidon dash. Just noting that the only way that Museus can proc deflect to activate Deadly Reversal being through that dash, meaning having to dash through an enemy. But a nice aggressive playstyle, you can do that. Procking off that Demeter's Aid there, nice positioning. That's going to hit multiple heads and probably last until Lerny spawns out of that phase for a little bit anyways. And then it doesn't matter though, because just bam, swiping away that final Lerny head with the Meg.
Museus has great timing on the Megs here, I've noticed from his streams here, so he does a really good job with that. One key thing to note with Amber here, I think she picked up Support Fire, which is going to be pretty big. Support Fire does trigger a few times per special on Chiron, and she might have a slight advantage in terms of AoE, which is what Chiron does struggle with, like you said, Jerds, but being able to proc extra lightning around enemies is going to help a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely right. And kind of evening up the times, there was a 2-minute differential before, but, as one finished the Lerny fight, another enters. So that difference is being reduced, which is really good to see for Amber and good news.
Looks like Amber was able to make up a little bit of time here for sure. We have a question from chat, Stereotypical again. He would like to ask, any Greek mythological figures you'd love to see make an appearance in the game, however unlikely? I'll just turn it to you, Jerds, if you have anyone in particular.
I wouldn't be surprised if he wants that question directed to Amir, actually. But I don't actually... you know what? I'm actually kind of happy with the cast. Look, I wouldn't be surprised, and I'd be real happy with another character coming in. I'd love to see, obviously, more around Persephone and what happens there. But yeah, look, I'm not pushing for anything. I know some folks want to see Apollo and Hephaestus and stuff like that. But what about you, Haelian? What do you think?
I've heard a lot of people talk about Hephaestus. Apollo is like a huge topic here too. I've even heard some people, talk about Hercules maybe as the last fist aspect, things like that. I'm gonna be honest, my Greek mythology is pretty much nothing, so I just like to see the cast widened, really.
Well, that's the beauty of this game, right? You get to learn Greek mythology through it, and it's highly accurate.
I've never been so knowledgeable as I am now about Greek mythology from playing Hades. And you can still see I know nothing about it.
There are a lot of good documentaries on YouTube if you just go searching. I have to admit, I did end up, watching one or two. Always been interested in Greek mythology, and then when this game came around, it kind of really inspired my interest even more. So,
sorry, what are those YouTube channels, Jerds?
Jerds_AU. No, actually, it's actually just Jerds on YouTube. Use the search function, buddy.
Okay, you got it.
But yeah,
Amber
National
probably wanted
Geographic's
to grab
always
that attack since it was a not too bad of a choice, but it had reduced dash range as the curse, which is a newer curse from Chaos right now. The reduced dash range, it's just really terrible, honestly. One of the worst ones you could probably get, especially as a speedrunner, never mind as a casual player too.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is that shop item that lets you, not see those flame wheels, but it's only a chance to find that.
Yeah,
that item.
Doesn't seem to pop up too often.
Yeah, there is pretty specific criteria for it, I'd say. Picking up exposed and, deflecting enemies makes them exposed for Museus there. In the meantime...
That should be decent.
Yeah, look, it's definitely decent. Again, you just have to be able to deflect on those enemies, right, to apply it, which means dashing through, which he's got no fear and he's doing that. And this is a really good way to fight the Minotaur fight. Just stay in his face. If you know the attack patterns, he does a lot of jumps. It's easy to dash away if you're right next to him. The thing to watch out for on the other side of the fence is obviously these swings. And as you can see, he just ate a swing there. But anyway, Museus finishing off that Minotaur fight, and that's going to enable a faster heroes fight at the end of the biome.
Yep. Amber entering her own Minotaur fight here, still making very quick work. I think these builds are actually very similar in power levels. It's interesting, despite having very different boons at the end of the day, too. Yeah,
absolutely. And one of those Paddy keepsake or Achilles Paddy combo keepsake hits there for 1500 to finish off the Minotaur there. So pretty interesting seeing these folks kind of evening it out, given there was a 2-minute differential leading into this second of 3 races.
We got a couple questions on what the hammers were. Museus was able to pick up Relentless, which gives him +4 special shots per special there. Unfortunately, the second hammer that he just grabbed was not so kind. I think he was forced to take something like Sniper Shot or Perfect Shot, something that didn't actually affect his special.
Yeah, it was Sniper Shot.
And he's probably not going to pay too much attention to it.
Yeah, Sniper Shot. Obviously, you have to be able to take that shot from far away. It's going to come into play every now and then. But let's be honest, if you're playing aggressively, you're playing quick. And as you can see here with Amber and her style, she's right up in the face of these enemies. The closer you are, the faster the damage is going to hit. Obviously, if you've got a projectile, it takes that distance to travel is a big thing that adds up over time. So you want to be in their face, firing point blank if you can.
Definitely. I'm getting a lot of full calls out of Museus down there. It probably has to do with the fact that the call meter is built up more quickly based on the number of hits, not so much on the damage you deal, but just simply how many hits you actually make.
Yeah, absolutely. Having said that, if Amber was to pick up an aid, that along with support fire could even lead to faster charge up times there, and would be absolutely a solid boon pickup to increase DPS at this point. Museus already got both heroes down to half health here. No fear going in point blanking. This is a great, a great enemy god to face up against with a Dionysus, right? You can still keep close. If you can figure out, when are those purple circles spawning, you can position yourself quite well and still stay in close. Procking out the full aid there, I think it was, or a late aid anyway.
Building up those 4 calls, that's for sure.
Yeah, I would have been tempted just to spend each aid as they came, they got generated, just to get out more damage over time, rather than just sort of saving it for a little burst at the end. Maybe something you can take into the Hades fight or some mini boss fights later.
One key thing Museus might not be totally considering there that I didn't necessarily think of either myself at first is when you build up that full call and you summon it at the end, that actually costs you seconds because it slows down the in-game timer just to show you the portrait of the god that you're summoning. So it costs you just a couple seconds, but still it's a time you probably could have skipped.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're picking up Mirage Shot and was it bounce fires? I forget the term for the hammer, but it wasn't probably the strongest hammer options available, unfortunately, for her there.
You could see Amber was recoiling at the sight of that green boon there. Just not really something that was going to be helpful for her build. Museus got something similar with Parting Shot earlier.
All right, now we got Amber using the Patroclus or the Antos Keepsake there getting a little bit of damage in. Both heroes are down to half. Just a quick note, that duo can be sold if it pops up in the pool of purging in the mid biome for, I think, 420 gold. We'll see if she blazes it. In the meantime, we've got Museus downstairs going into a mini boss fight at the end of a chamber. And is this a little bit of a slower fight for heroes up top there for Amber?
I think this might be where we start to see the Zeus damage start to fall off, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Zeus will deal pretty well with clearing small enemies quickly, but against bosses, this is where if you don't have things like Jolted or the legendary boon or Double Strike, where you might kind of start to struggle, you just can't really deal as much, unfortunately, as something like a single Artemis boon.
Yeah, all right. Well, finishing off the heroes now anyways. And of course, it is going to come down to a little bit of that sack RNG to see, who comes out ahead and what happens. Let's see what...
Jerds, I'd just like to make a special announcement that Wife made a special delivery for us with a Thai iced tea.
Ah, lovely. Ah, that's gorgeous. Ooh, you know what?
That's tasty.
I want one of those right now. So we've got Museus picking up the sack very quickly.
Wow.
There. Was that second chamber?
There must have been second path.
Second path. So picking up just a quick boon on the way out. Has got a little bit of time to burn, I would say, as Amber enters the first path now for her. Very, very interesting. We might see a similar differential depending on the, entering into the second race. So
yep. Just like Museus is able to keep his lead for the most part. Hopefully, it doesn't get too much further for Amber's sake here, but we'll just have to see how the sack treats her. I guess a quick note and explanation about how does the Satyr sack work? When can you get it? When can you not get it? You can't get it on the first path that you take, no matter what. You generally see a lot of speedrunners go and fight mini bosses first, and probably second too. That's usually because, especially if you have a companion keepsake charge still, the mini bosses go much, much, much faster than a regular room where you have to wait for the enemies to spawn over and over.
Yeah, absolutely right. You say spending a little bit of time clearing off those annoying chariots. Not that I think damage is too much of a concern at this point, but just being knocked around is a real annoyance. That's for sure. In the meantime, Amber picking up Crystal Beam, which isn't going to be super helpful. Beam. Well, I know you love it, but how much work is it going to do in the Hades fight? I guess you can position it, but you're probably better off spending that time just firing off the bow.
Well, I mean, Amber actually picked up a Mirage Shot earlier, and she already has an Artemis boon, so if she's somehow able to grab Crystal Clarity, I think it could actually do something.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I can see shaking her head. She's clearly not happy with the things that were offered to her, though, I think.
Yeah, the trick with, Crystal Beam, that Demeter cast beam, you kind of need a few boons to combo out to sort of make it work and make it strong, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. It's unfortunate. It's one of those boons, probably not too dissimilar to something like Ares' cast Slicing Shot there, where it's definitely not very strong on its own, but if you get the right duo or a couple of tier 2 boons with it, then it can be very, very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amber grabbing the sack on the second path, so she's able to maintain what she has going for her here. Whereas Museus is able to finish up the Hades fight. He finished the Chiron bow run at 47:02, about a 24-20 minute run.
Yeah, pretty good. So that's 14 minutes 46 in-game time, so that's not terrible. And as we've seen from Amber before, she can make the difference of a couple of minutes. So in my opinion, this is anyone's race.
I just love that we're seeing the beams come out here. She knows how to please a crowd, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, absolutely.
So at least she gets the flex props here, I'm gonna say, at the very least. Oh man, look at them. They are beautiful.
You know what? It's not terrible because one, it does slow Hades and his actions to move out of the beam, right? He likes to dash and spin around and stuff. If you can line them up, it keeps him in spot, which then actually just does a lot of, a bunch of passive damage. I guess just because the beams would be slowing Hades down, it might also slow down the chance of those, those stealth phases. If you're in the face and keeping point blank and lining it up, it's not too bad. Of course, like I said before, you really want to power it up and combo out with other boons to have it do significant damage, I guess. So
Isaiah struggling a little bit with some of the menuing there, possibly trying to let Amber catch up a little here, I think. Accidentally started a run without is the Zag aspect, which is the next aspect that he's going to be running, so he had to restart really quickly to go grab it. Not a problem here, really, but it definitely cost him a chunk of seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, little mistakes like that can add up to what could come up to be a nail-biter finish. So we've got Amber heading into the Hades fight phase 2 here on the second of 3 races, using the Chiron bow, laying down all of those beams, and Hades getting pummeled, standing still there. In the meantime,
exactly,
she just stands and delivers. I wouldn't be too worried about dodging at this point, Amber, since you got the 3 death defiances there. So we got Hades. You can see the health bar going down at a reasonable pace, going quite well. It's probably time to lay down some. There they are, the crystal beams again.
Yeah.
As he does
I think
the
at phase
mid-phase.
2, this is where the beams can actually shine, because if Hades chooses to summon his pots there, he's just going to stand there for a solid 5 seconds usually. So those beams can actually do a decent amount of damage, even if you don't have that tracking duo boon.
Yeah, absolutely right. Amber being very clever with positioning too, dropping down the beams, then dashing through to the other side of Hades. So the beams, forcing Hades to turn, and the beams hitting Hades from behind. And that's the clear.
All right.
So Amber finishes Chiron bow run there with 59.50 compared to 57.02. So what's that? We got 2 minutes and 48 seconds difference. But there was that delayed start from Museus.
So Amber might be able to make up a little bit of time there.
Amber being very kind.
It still could easily be anyone's run here. It really comes down to when you're using something like Zag Sword, which doesn't necessarily power up your damage in any way, it just kind of increases your movement. It's going to come down to what are the hammers like, what are the boons like. So it could definitely change, not to mention all the RNG, such as the dreaded sack.
Forgotten Kane just doing the measurements on the speed of the Hades fights there, noting that it was a 30-second slower fight for Amber. So interesting. It probably comes down to, that special choice in the end, doing the majority of that damage, but still a very valiant effort considering working what she had to work with. Can I just make a special note of, there was a Sisyphus room that Museus entered, and there might have been 2 or 3 questionable moves there. First of all, rushing straight to the gate instead of interacting with Sisyphus, feeling that, need to go fast Sonic vibes. Secondly, not gifting Baldy. Production team, can we make a note of that, please? And
we're gonna.
And thirdly, picking up the health.
Let's do runs in a row.
Yeah. But anyway, Museus picking up Supernova as that hammer option there. And we'll see probably Amber pick up this Chaos room when she finishes off this room here. Nice golden pot being run past by Museus there.
Interestingly, it looks like both runners actually changed their mirror, got rid of high confidence to go with just the extra health from the mirror instead here, just trying to play it safe. I think we can both agree the sword, especially Zag Sword, is going to be a little less safe, just having to be in melee range, having to dash around quickly and things like that. Sometimes you just end up taking a bunch of face damage there.
Yeah, absolutely right. Plus, it's a real change of pace, and this is an intentional, weapon and aspect ordering choice. Chiron bow probably feels a little bit slow coming into Zag aspect sword, where you're in the face and you've got the faster is 25% move speed and dash distance as well. So we got a kind of a slower moving weapon aspect into a really fast one now. Absolutely cool move to change your mirror as choices in between the runs. And interestingly, Museus already on 209 health. I haven't even finished Asphodel yet.
Risk pointing out that it looks like it was from a Chaos boon earlier. It might be honestly be worth it, potentially here in a race format where you just kind of want to not have to worry about that. It might just also give you more uptime to be in the face of the bosses and not have to think about exiting and just keep dealing damage.
Yeah, absolutely right. The less you have to dodge, then that's the less damage downtime potentially. So nothing wrong with that. Okay, we got Museus picking up the
clean kill, epic clean kill, not bad.
Yeah, good to get that additional crit damage from clean kill, upping the deadly strike there. So going all in on that, big beefy sword attack damage. Good to see. In the meantime, we've got Amber upstairs there, taking down the Doomstone in pretty quick succession.
Yeah, dealing some decent damage here. Grabbing Athena. I think we all know what she's looking for here. Ooh, yeah, interesting choice there. Not to reroll. She ended up taking Athena's cast. I really would have guessed that she would have rolled for the dash, but this is going to be an interesting choice.
You know what? I don't mind it. Just look at that damage there. Busting out, was it 390s or so per hit? You can spam that point blank in the face and get AoE with it as well. It's not too bad to weave that in with whatever else you got going on, or even open up with it at this point. I mean, that's what I love about the design of Hades, right? Like, you know, it's very rare you do a one-trick pony setup, right? Where it's just like, I'm just going to spam one button and it's always going to be attack or it's always going to be special. There are some cases like that. No one's saying anything about Aspect of Rama. I actually kind of like it. And you can play either way quite well. But you can't play very effectively with one button on that one. But there's 23, soon to be 24 aspects and different ways to play. And that's before you get all the hammers and boons going on. So you've got to be dynamic is kind of what I'm getting at here. You know, play to what you got.
Giant really did want us to kind of use a combination of all the different skills when you use any aspect here. You know, use a little bit of attack, a little bit of the special, throw in the cast, you know. Bit of unfortunate news there for the production team, Jerds. You'll have to remind Twinkletoes to take note. Amber also did not gift Boldy. That's 3 ungifted Boldies in this race, which is sad to say the least. You know, I'm not certain what we're going to do about this.
Look, I saw I saw you yesterday when streaming pick up a 10% move speed, I think it was, from Boldy. That's actually real decent. You know, it can happen. Costs you a few seconds.
Boldy has some interesting boons, I gotta say. Some also less interesting, but sometimes you'll see power equivalent to something like an Athena bronze skin, interestingly enough, also known as the Carlos boon. But nice pickup for Amber there. She's able to grab Artemis's special, which is actually going to be very strong, I think, for this. Because you always want to be using a combination of your attack and your special when you're using Zag Sword.
Yeah, absolutely right. So yeah, we got Amber finishing off that first biome. We're here in the third of 3 runs to finish off the race. And yeah, so we got, what sort of differential we got? So she finished off Tartarus in 55:37, as opposed to Museus's 54 minutes there. So bringing down the difference a little bit, and that's what it's going to take, just, you know, bit by bit, clobber away, and hopefully we'll have a nice close race by the end of it, hey?
Yeah. Amber was able to pick up a couple more extra core boons versus Museus, who was picking up some tier 2 boons from Artemis instead, although he's grabbing one from Athena right now. I think we know what he's looking for. There he goes. Epic dash, 3 runs in a row.
Just a quick note there, Haelian. I think something happened about a minute or 2 ago with your mic. You're just coming through a little bit softer there, so just check that everything's plugged in or whatever. So these guys just pushing through the giant chambers of Asphodel right now. As we can see,
I think they're saying I'm much louder now.
Really?
Somehow.
Let's get a bit of some feedback from the viewers. What's going on here? What are you guys hearing? It sounds
They feel assaulted by my voice.
a little bit like muffled or something like that. Something's changed. I'm not sure what. Haelian's mic is clipping. What does that mean?
Oh, interesting.
Anyway, we got we've got a Trial of the Gods happening for Amber, which means that Artemis is going to be angry at her for just a short while here. But this Trial of the Gods chamber is really meaning that you come out of the chamber with 2 boons, and I guess the thinking process being, you know, you want to get as much power early on in the race to be able to catch up later. So I respect that choice. However, the trade-off being, you know, these rooms can take a while, especially in Asphodel. But she finishes it off there, and the boon that she gathers is picking up Hunter's Mark. Even only at common, that's still a really good pickup.
Solid choice there, yeah, still. It's definitely one of the best tier 2 boons you can grab from Artemis there. I think just being able to get a lot more crits, especially clearing rooms here, is going to be a really solid choice.
Absolutely. And as Museus enters the Loney fight, picking up Side Hustle on the way in, Amber enters the Barge of Slowness. So we'll see how this all pans out. Looking at some pretty decent damage here from Museus as he takes down that head pretty quickly. Obviously saving his Meg Keepsake for the final finisher. Do you agree with that move, by the way, Haley? My personal preference is to like position it to hit multiple heads as they spawn.
I do not agree with your move. I'm going to be honest with you, Jerds.
Well, you're the pros.
Mostly because Meg has the worst aim in the world, I believe, if you just leave it up to her. So my strat is basically just spam that Mega button as quickly as you can upon entering the fight, just to make sure that hit actually lands.
Yeah, no worries. Similar mic output happening now, Haelian, but we'll sort it out at the intermission after this race. Don't sweat it.
Okay.
So anyway, Museus still fighting this Lerny. These heads going down at a okay pace, I guess. But there might be an opportunity for catch up here because I feel like Amber's boon selections are starting to pay off a little bit now. She did pick up the deadly reversal just before too, for those who missed it. Coming in very handy, dashing through these enemies as you're always doing with the sword. Entering the hammer room. So let's see what happens there. In the meantime, we got Museus finishing off Asphodel with an overall race time of 59 minutes and 20 seconds. Looking pretty
interesting.
Good.
He grabbed Aphrodite's keepsake there. If I were to guess, he's looking for Aphrodite's special just to get some extra special damage. Maybe go for that dual boon heart rend one more time, which is definitely not a bad choice here.
Yeah, absolutely. Alright, these guys still clearing through their respective rooms. And the hammer choice for Amber
some
is...
very unfortunate choices for Amber there. You could see the recoil from her.
You know, I toyed a little bit with Snap Nova in that just using it to sort of jump in to breach the distance very quickly on an enemy. But the problem is if you try to do that in quick succession, you'll just snap straight back. So it is kind of hard to control. Unfortunately, you can't sell a hammer. But you can anvil a hammer if you get that option at the sticks shop. So we'll see what happens there.
Thank God we got that option. Amber throwing her hands up top there because she actually grabbed Snap Nova, probably one of the most notorious new hammers that we got going on out there now. It's definitely a strange one. You lurch forward when you hit your special, deal a little bit more damage with it, and then you can also lunge backwards if you tap the button quickly afterwards. If you've ever seen anyone play with it and rapidly spam the move, it's definitely a sight, you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does occasionally proc your positioning to interesting positions as well. So anyway, the Butterball fight going very quickly for Museus, picking up Phalanx Shot there instead of picking up a duo that could be sold later potentially. In the meantime, upstairs we got Amber fighting against Lerny in very nice positioning there with the Demeter's aid. I'm respecting the use of not waiting for a full cast on that. A full gauge. And taking out these heads pretty quick, especially when proccing those crits, obviously. This is probably if I was to guess, slightly faster Hydra fight for Amber. I'm sure Forgotten Kane will tell us the result afterwards.
Really was a shame that hammer options that Amber got, because that could have been the time that she could have made up really plenty of time there if she had just grabbed something like double edge, double nova, double something already. She just needed some kind of hammer that provided a twin of some kind,
Yeah, absolutely. So we're looking at pretty much a 2 minutes 41 second-ish, something differential between the two. So Amber's definitely got a work cut out for her now. Not to say it's not possible. Sack RNG, a really good plays, some fast rooms. It's not off the cards that it can happen at this point.
No, absolutely not. Museus picking up a Chaos Gate there, which was definitely a nice little time save. You want to grab those whenever you can. But I think the big judgment call is going to be when we see this Sack RNG kick in.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we're re-rolling on the Chaos options. What will they offer? 72% attack. Wow. That's going to be huge. Yes, she's cheering on
She looks pretty excited about it too, I gotta say. And the downside of that curse is probably not going to be too major. I mean, she can't pick up her cast very quickly, but that's okay.
We're seeing some big damage there, some big 600s, 500s happening quite often there. If ever there was a time to do the catch-up, this is it. Yeah, look, this is going to be super interesting. Let's see how it pans out. I hope it works out well.
Forgotten Kane pointing out in chat there that Amber has been able to make up just a little bit of time here for herself. Ooh, Museus grabbing Heartrend one more time right before the heroes fight. It looks like Amber is roughly about 2 minutes 30 seconds behind as of this moment.
Yep, so let's see if the catch-up can happen. So we got Museus fighting the heroes fight on the bottom screen there, hitting both enemies there with the Meg, which is always good to see. Nothing more annoying if that doesn't go your way. Focusing his damage primarily on Theseus there to get that AoE damage around onto the Minotaur at the same time. Dionysus trying his best to hit him even once. Might have happened, but even if it did, it doesn't matter. It's not going to be enough to deter him from just continuously dash striking all over these enemies. Theseus goes down, just focusing on the Minotaur now, going very quickly. And that'll be done and dusted in about 5 seconds, I'd say.
Now, what's your least favorite god to get summoned against in the heroes fight, you think, Jerds?
Oh, jeez. I'll tell you what's... I can't answer a straight question, can I? I love Aphrodite and I love Artemis because they're pretty predictable. Maybe Ares, I guess. What about you?
Yeah, I was actually going to say Ares. I think Ares has actually one of the toughest attack patterns. He does 3 in a row and usually have to be at the very edges of the room to even have a chance of dodging them.
That's right, really forcing you to move around and then lose time, right? Not good for a speed run. So we've got Amber in the top screen there, fighting against the mini-boss fight of the Bull of Minos. Going pretty quickly here, showing some of that damage potential. I'm liking that fight too, because that's going to mean a faster heroes fight later down the track. In the meantime, Museus obviously making his way through the first tunnels of Styx. And
yeah, you can see Amber just kind of doing a WTF face a second ago because Snap Nova just kind of made her bounce all over the place. It was hard to know what was actually going on for a second there, and it's just such a strange hammer, and it's a pretty hard to utilize it seems.
Yeah, I do suspect that, through a lot of feedback and it's probably a little bit inconsistent behavior that might get changed in the future. We'll see. In the meantime, Amber picking up a fountain room, which will be a nice quick room, all part of the catch-up process, right? Still battling through Elysium, though.
Yep. Looks like she might be able to make up a little bit of time if she's able to bounce this back here. Museus forcing to fight this tiny vermin one more time. Oof. What do you think makes the tiny vermin so tiny exactly, Jerds?
Look, it just goes to show size doesn't matter, Haelian. Surely you've got an opinion about this. But I think it's, just stunted growth. Probably, there's some sort of, genetic misfortune. But that didn't stop a young rat from, becoming who we wanted to be, which is pretty much the leader of the rats. Let's be honest, he's the strongest rat there. He probably rules all of Styx.
This is the most inspiring story I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, anyone can make it. You just got to try and work hard, right? So Amber continuing to fight through Styx there. You made a good point about Snap Nova. I think it might be a wise move. Ooh, picking up the attack damage there from the shop. That's going to be great.
That's going to be nice.
She's got big attack damage happening right now. It might be a smart move just to not even bother using the special at all, just to avoid any accidental bounce-aways. Play it safe, right?
Yeah, it's just too hard, I think.
Yeah.
Museus trying to summon Meg in this small room down below. Interesting strategy there.
I guess the
using
thought
a
process
companion
being,
summon.
if you don't use it now and you get the sack, when are you going to use it? Because it can't be used in the Hades fight, right?
Yep. Interesting strategy I hadn't thought of. It does cost you a couple seconds just to bring her out. Again, kind of similar to those greater calls that you might want to use. Just bringing the portrait onto the screen costs you a couple seconds there.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like a Death Defiance too. That animation goes on seemingly forever when you're in a rush. When you've got Hades down to 5 hit points and then you take the Death Defiance and you're like, no, I just want to finish off the run. Yeah, you definitely want to avoid
entering
these
his
animations.
third path.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just saying, Museus entering his third path here. Meanwhile, Amber enters the heroes fight and is bringing him down pretty quickly here. Although it's hard to predict how Snapno is going to behave for her.
Interestingly enough, she was focusing quite a bit, or she's focusing a lot on the Minotaur there. I guess, like that's a bit of a different strategy against what we were talking about. If you're on Theseus, then the Minotaur comes to you and can take that AoE damage. She's got full gauge, so lined up right here now, so that'll do a lot of damage. There's the areas we were talking about, really forcing you to move around quite a bit. And look at this damage.
Well, it looks like they're not even going to have time for it anyway. No problem with that Greater Call Summon. Great move.
Yeah, a lot of damage. Good to see. In the meantime, we got Museus giving our favorite doggo the sack of food that he loves to go away and chomp on, soon to enter the Hades fight. So it's going to be tough for Amber to catch up from this point, I'd say. Picking up the attack damage, probably didn't need the special damage, but picked it up anyway. Let's just see a really strong finish from both of these races at this point.
Wrist in chat pointing out that Museus actually skipped a fish. He could have definitely gone for a flex there, but just chose not to. I guess he's just not strong enough. Look,
it just goes to show, I think, the race, it's important to him. He really just wants to lock in the win. And it's all a part of just playing it safe and not playing into nerves, right? Because, if you're going to flex and you're feeling nervous or you make a mistake or something like that, that can tilt a player. So just play it safe, get the job done. There's nothing wrong with that. In the meantime, Amber is struggling, well, not struggling through sticks, but I guess the hammer choices being, I think they were both for specials. Probably a little bit unfortunate in that case there. Would have been much better to get something, like double edge or, breaching slash or whatever.
Yep. Double edge probably being the most sought after one, but there's definitely a few other backups that you can utilize. Just kind of got very unlucky for her.
Yeah, that's right. So entering the final chamber of the first tunnel and sticks she is. In the meantime, we got Museus down in the Hades fight. Absolutely can pretty much take it at its own pace. Doesn't matter if Hades does disappear a couple of times, but it doesn't matter anyway. And Hades goes down, but does he know there's a secret second phase? Nobody knew. Museus fighting Hades for a second time this run here, and going down pretty quickly. We're going to see a pretty competitive time here. It's going to be less than 1 minute and 11, which was probably faster than some of the other races that we had last fortnight.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing some similar things here in terms of just how the sack RNG evens out and things like that too, I think.
Yeah, absolutely right. So are we going to see any sort of flex? Just, like, what can you do at this point? AFK stand, I guess? Any crowd-pleasing moves? No, Museus just going to get the job done.
Hopefully Amber can at least treat us to something on her way to the Hades fight at this point. But it looks like Museus is able to claim the prize with a finish time of 1 hour, 11 minutes, 36 seconds, and 90 milliseconds. And congrats to Museus.
Well done, congratulations, Museus, and that'll be the race winner for race number 3 in this Hermes Cup. In the meantime, we got Amber picking up the sack there, so a very, very honourable catch-up. Picking up Stubborn Root's probably not going to make too much of a difference at this point, but just locks in the win in case she decides to go ham and take some damage. But yeah, actually, you know what, making it a pretty close race across an hour and what's going to be probably, hour and 14 or something like that. Really, really close race.
Yep.
Lots of respect.
Definitely. Within just like a couple minutes, really, these are going to be. So it was still like really close when you think about the grand scheme of things here. Amber getting kind of unlucky. I think she had at least one more path for the sack there. So that's definitely going to cost you at least a solid minute, I'm going to say. So it definitely would have been really close. Right. Green pointing out in chat that we actually missed that Museus picked up World Splitter, aka the Chop 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 hammer there. I'm not certain if we ever actually saw it utilized throughout his run. Maybe that's why we didn't notice, but definitely one of the more interesting hammer upgrades you can grab, I think, for the sword. I'm not certain if I've ever been able to make it work very well, but what do you think about World Splitter?
Yeah,
Jerds?
super interesting. I guess he opted, those dash strike damage, which is why we never really saw the chop happening. I'd love to see some sort of mathematical comparison between the World Splitter, which I think ups your base damage to 80 per chop, if I'm right. And
It's 90 now. I think it used to be 80. Now it's 90.
90, right? So, you know what? You get some juicy crits, and that is one satisfying hammer when you're just playing with it casually. Love it.
What kind of crits again, Jerds?
What type of crits?
Yeah.
Meaty crits.
You can't change your adjective after.
Oh, mate, anything can happen. So we got Amber entering into the second phase of the Hades fight now. We're looking at a pretty good time here. One pro tip which you might see if Hades does the 360 spin, really cool tech is you can actually get right on top of Hades and not take any damage really. Which is interesting since 13 beams, I think it is, like burst out of him in a 360 degree pattern. Let's see. I hope we get to see this fight just to demonstrate it. But yeah.
I think Amber's actually making surprisingly good use of Snap Nova here, kind of. Ooh.
Nope, choosing to hide behind the pillar instead of going in.
It was a tough choice there for that one.
Look, at this point, I think you've got the victory locked in anyways. 2 Death Defiances and a bit of health. I'm loving that she's using those aids as the gauge allows it. Just for continual damage. I think that's the optimal way to do it in a boss fight rather than waiting for the full gauge. And there we have it. Folks, Amber finishing with 1 minute and 1 hour, 14 minutes and 44 seconds. Geez, so many fours, it got me tongue-tied. So very, very close race there compared to the 1 hour and 11 minutes there from UCS. And congratulations to both races. We'll get you both on Discord for a post-race chatsy watsy.
I hate Snap Nova. I hate Snap Nova. I hate Snap Nova. Hello.
Right.
Amber, so I heard you love Snap Nova. Could you explain your thought process?
So I never take World Splitter because it messes up my play too much. Because there's this huge pause before the attack and stuff. And I don't even remember what the other one was. And I can use Snap Nova. Sometimes they teleport, and that's just dumb. But yeah, it's usable for me.
Yeah, it is a tricky hammer. 2 special hammers, I believe, on that last run. But I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I got terrible luck. Like, none of the hammers I wanted.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just something that can happen with the RNG element of the game. We're trying to spread it out to make it somewhat even across three runs in a row. But you know what? Still a super close race. There were a couple of times there that you were a few minutes behind, and then you sort of brought it back in there as well. Really a testament to your skills. So well done, I'd say there.
I tried.
Great job, Amber.
Yeah, you did really well. Definitely showing some speedrunner skills there. And yeah, I mean, in retrospect, would you sort of have done anything differently?
I made a couple terrible misclicks, and pretty much every single time I jumped in my chair and beat myself up, I made a bad decision. I made probably 4 or 5 throughout the run.
Yeah, no sweat.
Nothing too terrible. Besides, the sword run was a mess. But the bow run went pretty well, and the spear run went okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's tough when your decision making is being timed too. This isn't like the any percent or any heat speed run where you can just pause and think about every decision you want because we're just going by the in-game timer. But here you're trying to pick things quickly and sometimes click the wrong thing or you just didn't notice one of the options. Things like that. It's very tough.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, it's tough. I think for the most part, I'm pretty happy with my play. I was really nervous. I lost, obviously. I got a 4 sack in with the spear run, and I think that kind of screwed me over for the whole rest of it. But I tried my best for the rest of it. I made some bad decisions and got some bad misclicks on the Zagreus sword run. But otherwise, it was really good. I'm really happy about it.
We have to give you huge props, though. That crystal beam play was absolutely beautiful. And I
managing to kite Hades. I tried my best. Getting crystal beam is not good. Well, I mean, I thought it was decent damage because I had Mirage Shot already, and I know that I could have gotten the 50% damage from getting it like from lodging the cast into Hades, but I felt like the damage might be more with the Mirage shot, and I tried to kite Hades as much as I could to stay in the beams. I think it worked out okay. I don't know exactly how fast it was.
Well, we got some race 3 statistics now for you all. Thanks to Twinkletoes for collecting that information and combining it here for the screen that you see today. That is Twinkletoes you see on the screen in the image. And very interesting Sato-Sac, I guess, spawn rates here, right? So we got 422 for Amber and then the 323 for Museus, meaning that it was overall, I guess, 8 tunnels, being nice and even there. Making for a fair fight. That's a good thing to see. What else we got?
Yeah, huge props to Twinkletoes here. Really interesting. Chris pointed out too that it really kind of evened out by the end. Most of these free rooms here, we can say. So it really just came down to the bills probably at the end.
Yeah, that's right. And I guess there are other, elements too, like what rooms do you get and whatnot. With what enemies, they're beefy and slow or whatever. That can always be a thing. But look, we got 6 Chaos rooms versus 5 for Museus. Apologies there. And fan rooms are even all around, and NPC rooms are pretty even for 2 to 3. So that's pretty good. No wonder it's such a tight race. So the winner of this race, obviously being Museus. How are you, good sir? How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty good. It was a little bit stressful there when I started the 3rd run and forgot to choose sword and had to go back and re-choose sword.
Yeah, how much time do you think you might have lost there, Amber? You probably didn't know about that, but...
Wait, what? What happened?
Going into my 3rd run, I just ran to the door and continued in on bow and had to give up and go back and re-choose sword. It was... Part of me kind of expected to lose a lot more time. I think it ended up only being like 20 seconds, maybe. So not terrible.
That's good.
But...
I felt like I just got terrible luck, but I know I made some questionable decisions. I don't know. It'll be interesting to go back and listen to your guys' commentary as far as like build choices go.
I'd also like to note that I've never heard someone as excited as Museus sounds right now for winning the race.
This is the standard Museus that we know. You listen to him on stream, on chat, and right now it's always cool, calm, and collected. But I'll tell you what, something to be excited about there, Museus, going through to the next round. Well done. Do you want to talk us a bit about how you think your strategy played out and if you would have changed anything throughout the race?
I mean, it kind of worked out the way that I was hoping it to. You can basically, every single weapon that I'm aware of, you could just take Artemis and Athena and get Deadly Reversal, and you just don't have any more problems. So,
simple
I'll
strategy.
probably try to continue with that strategy in the future. I really like Side Hustle from Hermes, but I took it in the spear run when I should have taken the extra dash, because that would have given Serrated Point so much more value.
Yeah.
But
Serrated Point being such a strong boon, getting 3 hits every time you do a dash attack, and obviously, skilled players like yourselves able to whack out those, dash attacks pretty much all of the time. So effectively tripling in damage. For both
of you got Serrated Point for your second hammer. It was actually really interesting to see how similar those builds wound up being.
Yeah, it ended up looking really good in the end.
Serrated Point was my strategy. That's kind of the build that I've been going for with Spear, is the dash attack build.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually just took it a couple days ago by accident and then realized that it's actually okay on Hades Spear. Before that, I had just been building Massive Spin and Quick Spin every chance I got.
Yeah, those are generally the ones you take, I would say. I picked Massive Spin and Quick Spin as like the next two. Serrated Point is a must pick for me. I think mouse and keyboard, having attack at cursor is like a really nice thing. You lose out on movement, which sucks, but being able to attack independent of your movement is really, really good with spear, and it makes serrated point the best hammer for spear for mouse and keyboard.
Yeah. I would agree with that. You know what? I actually think serrated point is quite underestimated in general. So it's good to hear you guys sort of playing it and really talking to it, because I don't know if folks have been tracking what's happening in the high heat world, but we just saw I think it was 50 heat from Tailesque using serrated point to get there, which I think is a very, very professional move.
Really impressive.
Yeah, and
serrated point is also really, really good for a different reason entirely, and that's the freeze frames on attacks. You get triple attacks, which means the game literally slows down for you, and it makes it easier to like aim and stuff, because you basically get to move your mouse faster than the game is going because of all of those pauses on the attacks. So I can totally imagine, like, if you're going for in-game time, serrated point being even better.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I actually think it's a real any percent speedrun contender. That would be my secret strategy going in. I know that you've got that dash, decrease 20%, but you can kind of negate that anyway with, greatest reflex if you can route some sort of run to get that, straight up in the mid shot in Tartarus or something like that. I'd be really interested to see some pros run that, or maybe I'll give it a try in version 1 myself. So, folks, as we start to wrap up the end of race 1, Amber, did you want to plug anything? Where can we find you, and what do you got lined up in the future?
My Twitch and Twitter are both Amber_CXC, and besides the Mario Kart 8 run at Games Done Quick in the middle of August, the only things I really have planned are playing more video games. I'm starting a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that's going to be on, that I'm going to stream.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, just more speedruns. Follow me if you wanna.
Yeah, nice.
Awesome.
That's really cool. Museus, good sir. I'm sure we'll be seeing you around the traps in terms of the modding community and whatnot as well. But any shout outs and plugs you want to give?
No, I'm basically just on Twitch. I do a lot of Fresh File. Please check out Fresh File if anybody's interested in speedrunning whatsoever. It is the best category. You get to use Zag Sword just all the time, and I don't really know what other reason you need.
It's not even actually Zag Sword, though. It's just a sword.
It's just the default kit. Like, you don't get the movement and dash speed. Like, that's what... That was actually really hard for me to get used to in practice, was the extra dash distance.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's good to know that can be overcome with some practice and positioning and stuff, and makes it a good contender for speedruns in the future. All right, folks, so well done, and that takes us to the brackets now. As we can see here, we're finishing off round 1 today in this second stream of the Hermes Cup, or the first Hermes Cup. There will be future Hermes Cups after this, don't you worry. The format may change in the future. But for now, we've got Museus progressing through to the next round. And the next fight will be JDN versus Foxhope. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be taking a brief intermission, and everybody get your hype up, because Amir's going to be joining us for a bit of a chat and a few interview questions and whatnot, which is a super, super special opportunity. So we'll see you all soon.